Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Kendrick. Doesn't have his headphones. Williams, and you got high end. Okay,
What? Why?
you got the tiny ones.
Oh.
Okay, no problem, man. I get some of them. I'll bring mine too. No problem. Sure. And then on top of that, they black, so they blend. He blending. Okay. Listen, Erica Wells Cox is our guest host. Rogan, I've spoken to Rogan extensively now. She is healing.
Good.
So that's good. Have you spoken to Rogan? I thought you all had a relationship, but obviously that's not true. She's talking to me now, not to you. And so she's doing well. Hopefully we'll see her back in a couple of weeks or so. You got to take your time with that. She has like 8 weeks of rehab. I hope I don't get any injuries where I require eight weeks of something, because I'll just end up crippled. It's a lot of commitment.
Yeah. And it's painful.
And it's painful. And I don't know if I can handle pain like that. When they say, like, I think I'll just go like, that hurts.
But then you won't, you need mobility.
Yeah. Anyway, what they could have is like a machine that could do it for me. You know what I mean? I think they have those, Kendrick. They just kind of do that.
Push.
Yeah.
Push
just
your
put
arm up.
Yeah, just kind of
whatever.
like, have a cocktail. And Candy is also going to be on. And our guest this afternoon is going to be Dr. Dwayne Sands. I know him as Ernie. And he'll be coming on to talk about NHI. A couple of things I would like to discuss with you, Erica. I've had a couple of experiences on the weekend. Now, what did I do? I did nothing. So that was an experience.
That's nice.
But I had to deal with a rental situation.
What do you mean?
I have a daughter who is away in school, and she's renting. Okay. And I had gone up there. I'm not going to get into amounts, but I'd gone up there earlier when she had to find a place. Mm-hmm. And I paid the woman some cash, some deposit and first month cash. Right. But I'd forgotten it. I'm finished with that. And then I also paid her rent in advance, so that 6 months was paid.
Okay.
So the roommate is to pay the other 6 months. And so the roommate had asked for the invoice so she could pay it. So the landlord then says, well, your dad owes a lot of rent because he's only paid X. I'm like, no, I don't think so. And it had me doubting myself.
Right.
Okay. So I called her. It was very nice. And I said, but if you recall, you and I were in she has a dental office, your dental office with your husband, my daughter, and I paid you some cash. She goes, I don't remember that.
You didn't get a receipt?
Hold on. You see, hit yourself on the hand. You're a bad girl.
Sorry.
So she then says, well, let me ask my husband. So she asked her husband. He's a codger. And he thinks so I said, in fact, now that you bring up your husband, if you recall, we were supposed to meet at 6, and then you called me to say you had to wait a little later because you had to fix your husband some dinner. Do you remember that?
Oh, boy.
So she asked her, he goes, he remembers. Yeah, I remember they came and they paid some money. But I said, and I don't remember how much I paid, but I think I paid everything. So then she said, so I said, I tell you what. So we agreed on 1 month was outstanding.
Okay.
Okay? We agreed on that. So she then says, oh, and by the way, your daughter and her roommate, they are just the model tenants. Everything is neat and clean.
That's wonderful.
And the model thing. And then I said, oh, yeah, when, that's kind of thing. And by the way, I said, by the way, I think I purchased about $89,000 worth of stuff. No, I mean, I'm only being facetious, right? But I bought things that, and I said, I'm going to leave those there. So, you're in good shape, boom. Right. I said, so could you do me a favor? I said, it's a lot of work sending money from the Bahamas and this and invoices and that. I said, you have X from me for deposit. And as you can see, it's going to be a great place. It's going to be better than when I changed fixtures, like faucets.
Really?
Yeah, I've changed faucets, ceiling fans. She is making out big. Yes. Air conditioners, everything. Big.
Seriously?
Seriously. So I say to her, would you be so kind as to just, rather than me pay you this 1 month, you just take that out of the deposit? Because you can,
Right.
you're going to give me my deposit back. She goes, I'm not comfortable with that.
Oh, boy.
And then she said, let me ask my husband, Codger in the background. She comes back, no, we're not really comfortable with that. I said, no problem. Now, of course, I'm pissed off.
Of course.
I said, but I'm saying it calmly. I said, no problem. We'll get you the check, and don't worry about it. Well, and then she starts to explain because she's starting to feel guilty because I did a thing to make her feel guilty.
Right.
I did a tone
Right.
that would make her feel guilty. Okay? So I said, no. We'll send you a check. I wanted to say, goddamn check. But I didn't say that. I said, we'll send you a check.
Right.
So then I go, and of course, I'm extremely perturbed. So I start looking up stuff.
Uh-oh. Oh,
Okay?
Ed,
Okay?
Ed,
And I
Ed.
found the lease, which was not clear, but it was clear. It said, upon execution of this, you will pay the deposit and 1 month.
Right.
And you have 11 months balance. So to me, I'm straight. So I sent her just a little letter about outlining, just an outline of when it was paid and everything. And then I said, and of course, we've always honored our responsibilities. And so I trust you that you would take this accounting, as
Official
being,
record.
yeah. So I didn't hear from her. But I figure now she's trying to come up with a counter argument, like a counter thing. Like, I don't really want to pay this guy back this money. So as I was feeling this, I decided, I think I knew where I put that receipt.
It was coming back to you.
Yes, it was coming back to you. So I went into this little section in the corner where I specifically put that little receipt, because I don't keep receipts. People around here keep suing receipts for 3 years. I don't keep that. Okay? I only keep receipts that I feel
That you might need later.
There was
Yeah.
something saying,
Yeah.
keep this receipt.
receipt, right. So I put that in the corner, and sure enough, I went through and I saw a little folded piece of paper. And I opened it up,
So lucky.
and there was the receipt.
Voila.
But this was my dilemma.
He's doing
I was
the
wondering
evil-
if I should have gone to hot bench.
What is... What?
Like Judge Judy.
Oh.
I was almost wondering,
You sounded like
these like Judge
Yeah.
Joe Brown and all that?
Right.
Like, go there, but not tell her how you had the receipt.
Oh, right.
And just kind of like spring that on her. Or I was thinking, I was waiting for her to come back with the rebuttal.
And then drop it on her.
No, not drop it on her. Just have a back and forth.
Right.
A little
Okay.
back and forth. Play the game. A little
Right.
marionette.
That's evil.
So,
And then drop it on her. Oh, my dear.
By the way.
Oh, my goodness
look at
me.
what I just found.
It just popped out.
Oh, Ed.
But I didn't. I just sent it to her instead.
And so what was her response?
No response yet.
None.
She's
None yet.
panicking. So anyway, that was my whole Sunday was enraptured
With the
With that.
with the
Dance
landlord.
with the landlord, Dr. Lisa Todes.
Now you would think that any landlord would be thrilled that they would have model tenants
Right.
Improved
who
Improve
improve
your
Improvements.
improvements, pay
leasehold
in
improvements.
advance.
Yeah.
Where can I find tenants like
No,
this?
Yes.
But and now
even
and let me
appreciate-
show you what the evil thing did. The evilness. I had offered her to deduct the money from the deposit, and that would have been the end of that for me.
Right.
She'd have come out ahead.
Exactly. Yep. Unappreciative.
But because she was a wench,
And no response yet.
no response.
None.
Of course, at any moment I'll call her and say, "Oh," because I'm into acting.
I've been
Oh,
transferred.
listen, just wondering if you received the copy of the receipt. Oh, you did. Okay, great. Listen, have a pleasant day.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, because I know the internet sometimes from Bahamas to the States, it can get all mixed up.
Mix up.
So anyway, that was a little fun thing.
Yeah.
So, and then of course,
Entertainment,
I see that. Great pleasure. Great pleasure.
no, because I don't like people fooling with me. I just don't like uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
Like there's no,
And it's
you know,
not, and when it's not necessary,
it's unnecessary.
it's very unnecessary.
I live one time I lived with this place and I put up a fence. And the person came to me and said, I think you're about 8 inches on our property.
Really?
Okay. I think you're about 8 inches on the property. So,
Are
I said,
you
look,
exaggerating?
no, I'm not. So I said, this is what I said to them because I didn't want to take up the whole fence. I said, I will write you a letter that you can have 2 feet when I leave. Okay? How about that? I'm not moving. I don't want to move the fence. You can have 2 feet. So you can have your 8 inches and another 1 foot, 4 inches of mine.
Right.
Is that okay? No, they went with that.
They were like, oh,
And
okay,
you
all
really
right,
did
all right.
that?
Yeah. It's not a big deal. We make two.
Isn't that a process? Like, don't you have to like?
Who cares? You're living next to. Listen.
it's not
When
a big
what I'm saying is, it's not 40 feet. It's like if you stand there, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, oh no, my lot looks like 1 foot 6 inches off.
I mean, how
Oh,
did
you mean
they
you,
even
yeah?
figure
you,
that out?
you
the
gave
8
that to them
inches?
for free.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, then that's not an issue.
If you have, what happened?
Speaking to your mic.
Oh yeah. If you you can just say that, Erica. You don't have to pantomime. If you have 3,000 feet,
Yes. Uh-huh.
just give them a foot. Just okay. You can have that.
And nobody get up my
Yeah,
feet.
because it's silly. It's a silly exercise. Because see, I didn't want to pull up the fence
Right.
'Cause it
And
was
then
already
that
down. It was an
cost,
error.
and then too-
Yeah, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
You can have 2 feet.
An honest mistake.
Yeah, you can have 2 feet. I wrote it out. Okay,
Yeah. They won.
we don't have time for that.
Done.
I'm going to be dead. You're going to be dead, and none of us have any feet. So,
So, Ed, you were able to do all of this communicating on Sunday in the midst of the power cuts?
yes.
Or do you have
No. I'm just I was able to do it in the midst.
Okay, all right.
Yes. He won't say why.
We'll be right back. Yes, Ed Fields here along with Erica Wells Cox. And before we do that, we have to say a happy 49th birthday to Kendrick Williams. He's told me he's 48 many times. He said that on the air. You said it on the air. You're not 49? No. Well, I'm going to go with
Kendrick,
49.
you don't look a day
See,
over
no,
30.
no, well, he is. And let me just say this to you. Until he tells us, I'm going with 49. Because he's told me 47. He's over 45. That's a fact. Is that a fact? Okay, so now he's scribbling or squabbling over 2 or 3 years.
When you get up in that area, it
What area?
matters.
I'm 58.
The
I'm
40
about 5, 6, 7 years away from death. What's the big deal?
45 and over.
What? All right, you got double digits,
I
man.
already told Ed he'll be the same one living to 100.
So
Miserable
Kendrick,
and just-
after the show, where should we retire to for the function?
very gay.
What's that?
That's what
What's that?
Very
Kendrick
gay.
has plans.
You're very calm. You're very quiet. Are we having a function? A thing? A bit of a bash? No. Okay. No swearing.
A social.
A
That's
social,
my-
like a
that's my
social.
favorite.
No social? No. Okay. All right. So listen, what was the big deal? And I really want to talk about this because it's just out of hand now. Is the power cuts? Okay. So I've gotten some information, and here's what exactly has happened. Okay, this is fact. So the first power cut was a fault in the cable. It's an
When you say the
unavoidable
first
thing.
one, which first one?
The first time we had a power cut in the last week
Okay.
was
all right.
as a result of a fault in a cable, which is due to poor
That
maintenance
was a
and
Tuesday or something.
yeah, it was like, it's just you can't. It's underground,
Right.
and it's just years of bad
Wear
stuff.
and tear.
Yeah, and up to that point, I don't think we had a power cut after the storm. I mean, I don't recall any major scenario.
Nothing
Yeah,
major.
yeah.
Nothing major.
So then, according to my sources, a brain for these systems, and I have no technical knowledge, so I'm not okay, but something that either diagnoses when there's an issue or causes some switching or whatever is years and years old, 30, 40 years old. There's no person who makes them anymore. It's gone. And the board, which is a government control board, the board was advised of this long ago. They didn't want to change the part. It's probably a cash-related issue, and now that part is gone. And so they're going to, try to get someone in to manufacture a part because that vendor doesn't even exist anymore. That's how old the part is. So this is the question, and to be honest with you, and I don't care what people say. I'm like I say, I'm in the single digits left. The reality is, and I posted this, so I can say it again. I was on the NAD board, which is a kind of model for this board, okay? And that board was left alone to do what it needed to do. But the main thing is it could knock the stuff down, okay? You had an old, what's the last time you've complained about the airport?
I can't
You can't remember. No one thinks about the airport anymore, right? Because NAD was allowed to go in, knock things down. They changed the bathroom. Remember the two things they changed first was the bathrooms and the baggage belts. So they were the biggest complaints in our airport, other than the general crappy conditions. Right. But one by one, they got the financing. They knocked the buildings down. They built the buildings. They replaced the buildings. But that took 6 years. 6 years for a facility that average people don't use on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay? Now, think this through. This is what frustrates me, Erica. I get riled up. This is what frustrates me. So you have a company come in, a management company come in May. See, we can remember it. In May, 7 months ago, inheriting a scenario that is, I wish I could use the Erica word, but it rhymes with tucked. Okay? That's been sitting around for 70 years. With machinery where the vendor doesn't exist. The vendor's dead. Okay? And we expect that the new team will work miracles in 7 months when they can't even knock the stuff down and start again. Now, here's the deal. This is what I get upset about. We are wasting our time blaming the people who are actually trying to rectify the situation. We need to be focused on why these situations occur. Look at BTC, classic example. Who's talking about problems with BTC anymore? No one. We've got to get our act together. When BTC switched over to a private concern, immediately there were issues. There were phone calls being dropped all the time. There's this, there's that, there's the big blackout. You remember when everyone, okay? Lots of problems. Why? And the blame it's the same thing. Well, these foreigners can't do it. Yeah, the same thing.
But they're getting riled up by outside parties too. I won't mention. Well, Leslie Miller.
Well, yeah, but the point I'm not. No, see, there are people that they're not in my silo of understanding. Okay. I finish with that. I'm talking about the average citizen knowing so that they can help themselves to get through this process. By the way, I understand it. Unlike a phone, unlike an airport, it's very difficult to live without power. It's like a basic thing. But in order for you to understand this, and to resolve it, you've got to understand where the problem lies, because you know what? These people can be gone, and then it'll start the circle again.
Right.
And you won't get to the you won't get to the end game.
Right.
So the reality is that we, the people, are not willing to deal with certain things.
Yeah, we don't want to be uncomfortable.
We don't want the price go up.
No.
Now, the irony of that is, I can tell you, the price went down from 40 cents to 20-something cents. But we don't want it to go back up to 24. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But yet we want. So it's like saying, my car sucks. I have a sucky car. Okay? It is not working. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a new driver. Kendrick is a new driver. Kendrick can drive my car.
And you expect that to fix the problem.
Yeah. So the carburetor likes Kendrick. He's in love with Kendrick. It's a freak. It's a freaky carburetor. Okay? So he's okay. So he's going, oh boy, Kendrick is here. I'm going to work for Kendrick. No, you're dead. You're out. The part is gone. So the only way Kendrick can get the car working,
he's got to change
change the carburetor. And that costs bucks.
So do you think people realize this?
No.
And why not?
Because they don't want to.
They don't want to.
And because, like you say, there's outside. Well, let me rephrase that. Because people are in pain. It's a pain thing. Okay? They just want a fix. But if you want a fix, you can't blame Kendrick. You see? This is the problem. Because you'll just keep on getting new Kendricks, and the same problem exists because you're not focused on the carburetor. Okay.
And it's an issue that really should have been addressed many years ago.
And the reality is, if Kendrick, and I'm not saying this happened because we don't know the business plan, but if Kendrick came in believing that he could go and get some money from all the people who want to go and get a ride in the car, he could, instead of 1 cent fare, he could take it up to 3 cents. And he thought, you know what? I know the car is sucky, But those 2 extra cents, that'll help me to go buy a new carburetor. And while I'm, using the old carburetor,
Yep.
I will collect this 3 cents continually, and I'll get enough money to buy a new car.
Right.
But if you say no raise, we want the thing fixed, and you got to take the people.
Right.
Well, then Kendrick has failed. But now, mind you, there's a group of people sitting somewhere determining how much Kendrick spends. Kendrick doesn't determine that, and we don't know them.
Right.
So let's focus on that. So let's just start focusing, folks.
On the real issue.
Yeah. So that's my little
That's your.
thing. Was it clear?
It was clear
Okay.
and passionate.
Okay, but I didn't call anyone any names or anything like that.
No.
Okay. Did I call anyone any names,
You
Candy?
didn't break any IRCA rules.
Okay, good. But it's we have to be clear. We've gone through situations like this over and over and over again, and we have to stop focusing on, it's like with the roads. Remember the roads?
Right. Yeah. When they were being done. Yeah. Now nobody talks about.
How do you build a road without inconvenience? Do you build it in the sky and then lower it? I mean, it's.
It's simple, but people, people don't.
People are
want
selfish.
change. Yeah, they don't understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there could be a better job of communicating.
Well, very, very much so. Very
it
much
just
so.
needs a clear explanation.
But the question is, if Kendrick is the driver, and Kendrick is getting all the heat, do the people that control whether Kendrick can say something or not say he can't say anything?
Well.
You see what I'm saying? So you got to ask, why would you not say anything?
Right.
Okay, why would you not? What is the reason why you wouldn't defend yourself?
Yeah.
You're a numbskull?
Because you couldn't. Because you're not allowed to.
Always a little thing. Okay, that's it. Everyone's fired now. Hey, Candy.
It's like candy. I can feel it when you walk, even when you talk.
You're on.
It takes all.
Did you swear?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Don't drop your phone because,
It's already
it's
cracked.
not. Okay, well, let's not.
And the cover.
Let's not turn into a crackhead. Okay? The cover is. Are
Yeah, like the case is keeping the screen.
you going to get a
together.
new one for the Christmas?
More than likely not.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Possibly no.
Possibly no.
What you getting for Christmas, man?
It's not on top of my list, although an iPad Pro is.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I
What
know.
you-
want
I
me
know
one
what
of
I
those.
want
All right,
for
let's
Christmas.
let's go around the circle real quick. What do you want for Christmas, Kendrick? You have to say it on the mic. Okay.
What
Can you
kind
say it
of-
on the mic, please?
Phone.
You want, what kind of phone?
The
The 7?
Samsung Note.
Samsung Note.
The
Don't
one
they
that
blow
blows
up?
Not number 7.
What's wrong with you? They blow up.
No.
They recall them. Okay? Are you a terrorist?
like
the
the Note
Samsung
back.
7?
Yeah, but
Note 7 or something?
they're blowing up.
It's the 7.
Yes,
Yes. Is
they're
that the
blowing
one
up.
they're
blowing up?
Can you get something that's not going to blow up?
I'll
You get
take
another
an
wish.
iPhone then.
Okay, all right. Erica?
What, Erica?
I want an Apple Watch.
And yeah.
I have one. You can have mine if you wish, okay? No, I have one actually. It's not that bad, but it's you got to charge it up and all
It's
stuff.
good for exercising.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
in that case, you can
all
have mine.
sorts of things. Like,
Yeah, all
and,
sorts
and
of
especially
things.
if you have an iPhone.
So
and it
far
syncs.
now, well, I'm just gonna say. So, Candy, what would you like?
Oh, I said I want an iPad Pro.
So everyone wants like technology.
Yeah, unfortunately, which is a we can
Yeah, what
talk
do you
about that.
want?
I would
now,
like to
too.
about have anything over $250,000 in cash would be good. I mean, I'll take the 249.
Right.
You could owe me the 1. Okay. All right.
Oh my
But anything over the 250, I'll take.
Realistically now.
I don't. What am I gonna get?
I know.
know?
I mean, it could be something-
Ledenhauser? I don't know.
Nothing.
But
You don't want anything.
I want to be left alone.
You're such a
Don't bother
Mr.
me.
Scrooge.
It's not. I stopped saying that because people want peace and quiet. There, Scrooge.
No,
I'm not
no.
trying to take your Christmas away.
No, that's true. Okay, I take that back.
Yeah,
Scrooge.
Candy likes Christmas.
Yeah, well, they're overboard.
But I don't like Christmas for the reasons you think I like Christmas because I just like the feeling of it. I like the.
You
It's
know what
not
the
like
feeling of it
I
is
get
for me?
I
It's
get
a-
gifts
it's
and
a
my
special
birthday
time
is
of
in
the
this
year.
month.
You know what the feeling is for me? Exhaustion.
It's
Why?
pretty-
Lifting trees,
No,
moving this.
you make
moving
it
that.
exhausting.
Oh, I make it.
No, I'm
it's not
saying,
actually exhausting.
No, it isn't.
Okay, the lifting of the tree is not
Yes, it's
exhausting.
your reaction
Just
to it.
ask
Ed.
someone to lift it for you.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. That's what we do.
We go to break already.
Yes, because we come back, we'll
I
talk
just
to you.
reached.
Because we were talking about Bipple. Okay, we'll be right back. Is there any here? Okay, good. Yes, we're back with Candy, and Candy, we were talking about birthday presents and Christmas. Sorry,
even
Christmas.
though-
Christmas birthday. In fact, it's the birth of Jesus Christ,
And
so
we
essentially,
can
it,
get whoop, whoop.
so essentially, it is a birthday present. And like Jesus Christ, I'd like some myrrh for Christmas. So if anyone
find
out
that
there, I don't know, that's their problem. I'm just asking for
I'm
it.
sure it's on eBay.
It's an essential oil.
It's an
apparently.
essential. See that? It's not just an oil. It's an essential oil.
Essential oil.
Yeah.
I feel depleted, and so if anyone's out there, they're wishing to buy me a gift. Other than
like
the 250
some,
grand, I want myrrh. Okay. Now, Candy, what's going on, man?
It's so funny. We here talking about what we want for Christmas, like, and all of it is like technologically based.
Except
and,
mine, cash and myrrh. Okay.
What did you know? Oh yeah, you didn't say you wanted a phone. Hey,
No, I
you
don't.
have a phone.
I have 3
Anyway,
phones.
I thought we would switch it up today and stop talking about the adults. And it's we're going into the Christmas time, so we're
Yeah.
going to talk about the children.
Yeah.
I got this article, and it was about this teacher who you can't. I can hear myself
Yeah,
very
well,
well.
I can't. Go
No,
ahead.
okay. It was about this teacher who had kind of was talking about he's seen the decline in he's a teacher, right? I said that right.
Yes, you said that.
Okay.
Obviously, you
He's
need
seen a
some myrrh as well.
decline in kids' social and emotional and academic functioning
Yeah.
over the course of his 20 years of teaching. That's why I
Yeah.
said we're here
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
technology, and technology is probably like number one. And one of the things that he made like 3 points. Kids don't know how to be bored anymore. We're constantly servicing our children.
Okay.
As
I
soon
don't
as
like the sound of that, but I understand it.
yes, sorry.
No problem.
I'll choose a different way
Yeah.
of saying it. We're constantly trying to entertain our children.
There you go. That's
Okay?
more like it. Yes.
They, as soon as they're, Mommy, I'm bored.
Yeah.
You give them your phone, or you go watch TV or put on a movie, or and I think it becomes glaring too, like when we have all these outages, and your children,
Panic.
they in panic mode, man.
Yeah.
Especially if
they have
they had a little
marbles?
iPad, but they sell marbles still.
They do.
I think they do.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
And
they do.
tops.
And Jacks.
Yeah.
You remember
Although
Jacks?
if you gave
And
my son
checkers.
marbles, he would look at you like you.
No,
Yeah.
none of the kids know these
Yeah.
things. They don't
But you
know.
see, maybe we should start playing with your kids with these things so that they can enjoy them. Because kids will enjoy whatever you give them.
Parents are on their iPad Pros and their
Yeah.
phones
Yeah.
and all these other things. And
Right.
so, is
And
this
then we're afraid they'll swallow the jacks.
exactly
We're
because
panicking.
we've become paranoid.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go outside because, oh my goodness, you have all these allergies, or you have
And that's
this
why
and
they're
you have
that's
that.
why they're
and-
allergic to peanuts now.
It's kind of crazy. My son just went to the gate the other day by himself,
Ooh.
and we almost had a heart attack.
Ooh.
And I
See,
thought,
that's
that's crazy.
I used to walk to the barber.
I used to be all the way down.
Remember, you'd be on your bike.
On
you'd
your
go
bike.
through
My
the
parents never
neighborhood,
knew where
and
in
it
the
would
world
be
I
dark,
was.
and your
Yeah.
mom would call you inside.
Yeah.
What happened to those days?
Well, now
Long gone.
a lot of things have happened. Like you say, your kids aren't. They'll come and say, "I'm bored."
Yes.
Well, when I was growing up, they'll say, "You're bored? If you don't shut up, I'll board your ass." Okay, that's the kind of verbiage that would happen. Okay?
Exactly.
Or move around me. Okay. So,
Yeah. We don't
no,
allow
but
our children to
we
play.
entertain ours. Yeah, we played. We played.
We played.
You engaged.
You couldn't
Right.
wait to get out.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait to get up in the morning
We were
to go
bored.
outside.
And not only
right.
that, and mad when they call you inside.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Or
right.
don't let the sun go down and you in this house. They're like, ah.
But now they're just it's scary. I actually think it's the beginning of the deterioration of mankind. Does that sound too sad?
It's a bit dramatic.
Well,
Okay.
it's it.
No, but it's you listen. You guys don't remember this. Maybe Dr. Sands will remember this. There was a commercial on TV, and it was sponsored by the U.S. President's Council on Fitness or something like that. And this guy would come. He was very stark, futuristic, and he would come with a box, and he would go up to a pedestal, and he would open the box, and in the box was a head, and then he would just rest the box on this pedestal, and the person would start talking and counting or whatever. Basically, what they were trying to say is, if you don't get out there and exercise, etc., that's all you're going to be is a head.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what's happening with kids. This is what they're doing.
talking
It's
head.
only their head
Right.
that's functioning.
Right. And that's why they're having so much trouble in school. Well, when I say trouble, they're constantly stimulated by all of this technology. You know, you got your iPad, the explosions and the constant gratification. And so when you go to school and it slows down like 1,000 times.
When you have to focus. And
Then you get diagnosed. You have attention deficit disorder because you can't keep still.
Yeah.
You can't sit down and listen to the teacher. So it has adverse effects.
You
like
know,
this,
you know what's even more, and I don't know why I don't ever think of this,
what's that?
but you know, the average child, I don't think the average child is really monitoring what their child. The average parent is monitoring what their child can get on this thing.
No, I don't think so.
I
either.
think that, I mean, if your child has a phone, I don't know what kind of systems they have.
Right.
But the reality is, first of all, your child is probably hacked through the system. Okay?
Because they are
their
that-
friend
they're that
has told
savvy
them,
with these
this is how
things.
you get around that.
Right.
Right.
You know, we chip, put a
You
W
always,
on
and
top
you
of that.
always have that friend
You always have that friend.
who knows how to do everything.
Okay, and that friend's going, listen, they put in the parental code. Let me show you that. Hit bar space backslash. Okay? Okay? And the only people who don't know about bar space backslash are parents.
Right.
So what kills me is you know you can put anything into Google
Yes.
and it will come up.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
Well, see, now the
because I
thing-
know that we couldn't even get like Playboy.
No, that was in the
I mean, a magazine. I mean,
back
just to walk into a store to just get Playboy
Right.
was like you had to put that in front of the middle of the fishing magazine.
then. Yeah.
Well,
But now the only thing is with with on your iPads, because I'm sure that's what the majority of children have. Parents you can't download apps, so you can't download Google or YouTube unless you get permission, and your parent, hopefully, let's hope that this is the case. The parent has to put in the password,
right.
so you can't
The password
download
for
any
what, the
kind of.
Google?
Yeah, it's like
To get the app.
right to get the app. You have like an
But
app.
yeah,
Except
they
once
could
it-
go on Safari. They could go on Safari and Google.
You can't delete Safari.
You
hey.
cannot.
And not only that,
Safari.
even if they could, and
But
they had to
then
get
you
a
can put-
password,
you can put
what they
blocks
would
up.
do is Buster from down the road. He have his mother password, and we can do it on that.
No,
Okay.
it's a serious thing. The
Right.
other night, we were at dinner with the kids at a restaurant, and I get a notification on my phone. My son had my phone. He gave it back to me. I get a notification. No, he was on my husband's phone. I get a notification on my phone. Oh, your Amazon order. Thank you for your Amazon order
Yeah.
of a laptop computer, a
Okay.
case, and a pair of headphones.
Oh, so how old is your son?
He's 9 years
Yeah,
old.
and he ordered a laptop.
He figured out how to turn, because I had the one-click off.
Yeah.
He figured out how to turn on the one-click ordering, and he ordered his stuff.
Wait till you order the Escort.
What you mean? Hold on, Erica.
I kid you not.
What do you mean? He ordered a laptop?
Yes.
Well, don't you have to have a credit card?
What you mean?
No, if on Amazon, you have
an
a credit
account.
card, right? So he went on my account,
Uh-huh.
right? He turned on the one click because I had it turned off. He figured out how to turn. He went into my settings. He turned it
Yeah,
on,
'cause,
and all you had to do is hit order, click,
Oh no, sir.
and it goes through.
Yeah.
Oh no, sir.
So when the laptop coming?
That's when the beating would have come out of me. No.
The only thing that saved him is we were in a public place.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But like I say, wait till the other things start popping up.
Oh.
Like Schlongo Mongo.
Well, this is why everything is synced
With
our
your stuff?
phones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, see, that's where you're wrong. What is sync with your phone is what is sync with your phone. But he has some stuff that ain't
He
sync.
got
Because he's on space, // double comma
yeah,
semicolon.
boss.
Semicolon.
Boss, something.
No, it's scary stuff, Candy. And I don't know what you can do. All you can do is monitor.
No,
but it's
it is.
how do you monitor? You give your child a laptop. You don't know what they have. Yeah, I guess. And you know what the thing is? I don't know.
Right.
I'm.
It's like you have to take your laptop or these
you can
things to
block-
people that can.
You can
Block
you can
this stuff for
block
you.
Things.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm not that computer savvy or technologically savvy,
Right.
right? So my kid could theoretically have a thing, and there's a blank screen, and I think, oh, great, they have no apps. No, what they have is the blank screen app.
Right.
Okay, that shows no apps. Okay.
And I'm sure such a thing exists.
By the way, can I invent that? That sounds good.
Write it down, Ed. Write it
You'll
down.
have all
You think that
these
exists?
Teenager, it might.
They they probably
If
have
you've thought about
a
it, it
full
probably
screen of apps that just overlap. You know, like how when you go into the TV shop and they just have like this false picture of a picture.
Right. Yeah.
They probably have something like that.
Which is why you have to scare your children.
That's
yeah,
right.
hey, put the
Right.
fear in them, eh?
Yeah.
Put
And
the
you
fear
don't
in
get to
them.
scare them in, but belt.
No.
I'm
No,
not
man.
advocating for that, but
I am.
But yeah. But people, allow your children to be bored. Don't, if you go to the restaurant, don't allow them to take their iPads. When you're going to school, I know traffic is rough. Don't let them use their iPads while you're in traffic so you could have your time or whatever it is, and they're just occupied. They need to know what it is like to just
Communicate,
be.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
communicate and wait.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we
waiting.
don't know. As adults, a lot of us don't know how to
We
just
can't
be,
wait.
Just
which is
be,
why
right.
I took Facebook off my phone and really stopped going on. I couldn't stop to a traffic light without picking up my phone.
Oh, you're
Yes,
sick.
exactly. Yes.
You're
Right,
sick.
so
My-
I was like, what is wrong with me?
Yes, I know my
So-
if my husband is
Are
listening,
you sick too?
just with the Instagrams.
Okay.
Well, I'm
So you're
not
sick
on
of-
any of that. Well, I'm on
Okay.
Twitter, but
Well,
that's
you're sick.
But I'm on
different.
So it's different. You see, you know what it's
Twitter is
like?
different.
You're like
No,
a drug
but I'm
addict.
on-
Oh, I'm not into my heroin. It's just,
It's just the
pills.
crack.
No, Twitter,
Okay.
Twitter is for
Like-
pure,
Is what?
information. It's like where I can read everything that I read. It's wonderful in one space.
Okay, well, I'm
But
happy for
Instagram is for my work.
you. Okay,
So-
yeah.
It's
I do Facebook now for my page here.
Yeah.
But you know what I don't do? I don't say like, I'm stooling now.
Oh, could you not use that?
No, but I mean,
word?
I'm just saying. But this is what people do.
Yes.
It's like every move they make.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
people,
hi.
People use it for different things.
Right.
I have some guava duff. Some great guava duff.
They want to share that.
Okay. Anyway, listen, Candy.
Yes.
We have to go, and we don't want to say what you're doing on Facebook.
We kind of
What am I
derailed
doing?
here.
No, you're not. I'm only kidding.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's
You're doing your calligraphy stuff is really good.
Yeah.
thank
I like
you
that.
on the Instagrams.
Well, I see it on the internet. All right. So we'll
Yeah.
see you next week, Monday.
Yes, sorry, Bob.
All right. Have
Thank
fun.
you.
Bye. You know, when you withdraw, you withdraw. Anyway, we're on the air. So very interesting conversation about the Christmas and about the things. Ernie, we have Dr. Sands, affectionately known to me as Ernie. If you have the 250, you could do it in installments if you want to give it a good gift for Christmas, So I take it in installments.
No problem.
No problem. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that now. Listen, the reason we have you on is there's a lot of things going on. And you just asked me, interestingly enough, why is this coming up now? We don't generally do topical. We don't try to stay in whatever's exciting that day to hop on that. We're just trying to get information out. And, it occurred to me we're very close to the new year. I saw some rumblings back and forth, minor compared to what it was before, about where national health insurance is going to be. It was promised, I think, first in 2016, if I remember correct. It's amazing how fast that's gone by. And now you hear things are coming up possibly in 2017. And obviously you try to do this out of the context of politics, but I think that some poll was taken. You can correct me because I'm just going to throw any number out. But certainly a vast majority of Bahamians seem to be favorable in the favorable bracket in terms of wanting health care because obviously many Bahamians are uninsured. Many Bahamians obviously at a certain point feel that they'll lose their not lose their job, but leave their job and might not have group health coverage. So the question is first of all, where are we? Is this something that is going to happen?
Yes. So
Okay.
there's no
Well, listen.
question. There's no question that the majority of Bahamians support a national health insurance plan that is going to provide what they believe they were promised they were going to get.
The no cookout insurance?
The no cookout, I go into Miami, I can lay up in doctor's hospital, that when they tell me I need to get an MRI, a CT scan, chemotherapy, it's covered.
Right.
That's not the case.
That's why I said
Yeah.
the majority of Bahamians support the NHI that they believe, that they thought they were told they were going to get.
Right.
And so when you speak to a lot of Bahamians now as this thing gets ready to roll out, their expectation is very different than what they've been told repeatedly is going to happen.
Well, first of all, you say that's getting ready to roll out. So you're not saying that euphemistically. Is this in a very short to medium term getting ready to roll out?
I believe that we will see something that is called national health insurance by February or March of 2017.
Okay. And in your go ahead, Erica.
No, I'm just taking note of how you're saying something that is called national health insurance. What do you expect that it's actually going to be?
Well, we've got $124 million that is going to be spent between, and forgive me if I bring election in this. It's not because I'm trying to be political. It is because that's what is going to happen. We got $124 million in the kitty that I can spend. And the goal is going to be to make it such that most people have an experiential feel of something called NHI, which means that they will get to go to the doctor. And they will get to sit up in Dr. So-and-so office, and they will have an evaluation. And when they finish, they could walk out, and they ain't got to pay for it.
All right. Now, that is being touted as, and then first of all, in the first year, from what I understand, let's go through all the garble, that isn't supposed to cost us anything. But eventually that will supposed to cost us something, whether through it's an employment-related tax or an individual. It's not going to be free forever.
Yeah, we have to pay
And
for it.
we are not going to, no one's going to ask you to put your hand in your pocket either directly now or indirectly for this particular part of it. And there's also another $24 million set aside for what we call catastrophic things. So there will be a number of people that will get heart surgery, pacemakers, joint replacement, organ transplantation out of that $24 million.
But talk about, just to clear it up, because I just want to for me, I'm going to pretend it's me that you're talking to here, and I have no knowledge of any of this stuff. So right now as we speak, if I needed heart surgery under the public system, would I get it?
No. What we have done is we've made it available for indigent patients at a total cost of $37,000 plus VAT. And that includes the stay at doctor's hospital, the charges for doctor's hospital, which is about $30,000, the physician's fees, the anesthesiology fees, etc. The goal is that you get the patient in, they have the surgery, they spend a day at doctor's hospital, they go back to Princess Margaret Hospital, and they recover at PMH.
So that's basic. Someone who has no insurance, that's what they'll get.
The government will pay up to $5,000 for that.
Okay.
So the family
The cookout.
would have to come up with the rest.
Right.
And so out of this,
Or you die.
well,
I mean, I'm not being, no, I'm saying if
know,
you can't come up with it.
if you can't come up with it,
Then you don't get the
you know,
Then you don't get it.
You won't get the procedure.
Now, so what you're saying now is with this new thing that's about to roll out, there will be a group of people who will qualify under this $24 million
Correct.
to get heart surgery or some other treatments that are now not covered.
Completely covered.
So why then, because I don't know what is the missing stuff, right? If you get basic primary care, that is going to a doctor, and catastrophic care, and you're going to get that, what's missing in the menu?
Oh, a lot. A lot's
Okay.
missing.
All
So when you look at the menu of healthcare services, and
So I
what is
said
in-
menu. I'm in the healthcare world, Eric. I said menu.
what's included in all of the different
You got the menu
things.
down.
The list includes rehabilitation. The list includes pharmacy. The list includes
So with pharmacy, you get now, right?
Well, you
I mean,
get it
if
through
you're
the
over
prescription
65,
drug
yeah.
plan and the national drug plan. So if you look at this, well, we're not on TV,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
got home care, geriatric care, rehab, dental, vision, specialist care, diagnostic service, prescription drugs, primary care service, public health services. And so in the first phase,
That's what's covered?
basically what we're going to be covering is primary care services,
Okay.
some medication, and some diagnostics.
Right.
Okay? So there's a lot that's not going to be covered. And when you look at the expectation of cost in the Sanagest, and that was Sanagest came before Price Waterhouse and KPMG, in the expanded package, or when we looked at primary care, they predicted that primary care would cost about $26 million. That hospitalization would be $226 million and catastrophic $70 million. When you add diagnostics, that's lab, another $16 million, and pharmacy, $33 million. So interestingly, the government has decided that they're going to go with the outpatient visits, diagnostics, and
Catastrophic.
pharmacy. And then they can throw in a little catastrophic, but they're only going to cover about a third
Right.
of
So
the
you still-
anticipated catastrophic.
Yeah, so you still have to find. So the objective, I assume, and I don't know if it's realistic or not, but the objective is that over a period of X amount of years, those other menus, those other items on the menu would come to pass. What is the trigger for those things to happen?
Well, Ed, I think, and Erica, the trigger is moving towards an ever improving healthcare system with improved access. But, economics 101 is guns and butter. So you only have X amount of dollars in the kitty. How are you going to pay for it? This year, we will have a $300 million fiscal deficit, which adds to our national debt. If we're spending $124 million on healthcare, the truth of the matter is that we don't have the money to pay for it. And so we have decided that it's important enough to increase our deficit and debt in order to do this.
Someone brought something up interesting that I'd never heard before. It was a very compelling argument. That when you look at the insurance pool or the pool of premiums that is being paid, right now, that first of all, it only represents maybe a third or so of the population. I don't know the numbers, you would.
That's about right.
But out of that, the government is paying the bulk of that anyway, because of through the public, what do you call it, the like the BPSU and the BPC, all of the government employees. The government essentially is paying a lot of premium into that pool. Why is that not accurate?
Not so. The total spend on healthcare in the Bahamas in 2013 was $890 million.
These are premiums or just spend?
Total spend.
Okay.
Okay? About a third, 35% of that was through major medical health plans. And when you look at the Defense Force, Police Force, teachers, and
Public service.
so on and so forth, the government spend was about $75 million on premiums.
Right.
Okay? Maybe $80 million. Not all of the spend is the same type of plan. Some of the policies, the government gives the insurer a certain amount of money and say, we'll manage this and we'll give you a percentage. The rest of it is a true major medical plan. So when you look at it, the out-of-pocket expenditure is a couple $100 million. The insurance plans is about $240 million. And then the public spend accounts for a lot of the balance. So we are already spending
A lot of money.
a lot of money.
So that the question I'm saying is, if you take the premiums out, okay, that's spent from the public sector, take the money that is being spent publicly, like at the Princess Margaret Hospital, that is not. I don't know where that's even coming from. I mean, I guess the government just gives the money to cover it,
fund.
right? So when you take the money from the consolidated fund, the premium that the government is spending, is this not? And it's just a query. Is this not just some sort of more of more efficient, fancy replacement as opposed to an incrementally large jump in expenditure?
Well, the question is it really going to be more efficient, or are you going to just dumb it down even further? And I'm not trying to be argumentative or pejorative. The problem is that we already waste 25% of the money spent on healthcare through the public sector.
Right.
Okay, 25% of the money we basically throw in the garbage.
Right.
If you now increase that without
The
putting in the
efficiencies.
checks and balances and efficiencies, are you going to increase the waste? Are you going to get better health care or worse health care? When you look at the outcomes in the public sector as compared to the private sector in terms of mortality, death rates, complications, the death rates in
High.
the public sector are 3 times as high as it is in the private sector.
Yeah.
And in some cases, 8 times what it is for comparable patients in OECD countries. And so, when we look at this now, and you're talking about mortality rate of 14.8% on the public services as compared to a 1.3% average in some other places.
It's crazy.
And then you compare that to a 6.9% mortality rate in the private sector. The question is, should we be throwing more money or should we be going in the other direction?
Right. Well, this is this on this. See, so all right, I'm insured. I think you were on the show when we were talking about this before with Delon, Brennan, and some others. So I'm an insured person. I don't own my own company, so I'm not going to be the master of my insurance for the rest of life. I'm a potential for a public health care system, right? Now, here's what drives me. Filth. I don't want to go around any filth. Okay? I don't want to go around any broke down stuff. Okay? I don't want to go in a place where the call button in the thing don't work like it did when my father was at the Rand. All these things I don't want. I want to go into a decent facility. Why do I feel that's not going to happen? Why is that going to change overnight?
And this is very important because when you look at how much we spend as a country, we spend an awful lot of money. We spend more than any other country in the Americas other than the United States and Canada. And yet our healthcare results are poor relative to other countries in the region. In large part because we hire a lot of, I got to be very careful how I say this. We hire a lot of persons who contribute to the cost. We do not
in terms of just employment numbers.
We don't get value for money in terms of some of the procurement processes. We spend too much for equipment, for medication, and so on and so forth. The end result is that when you look at the infrastructure of our healthcare facilities, whether you're talking hospitals, clinics, out in the communities, etc., and we have to not duplicate, triplicate, but we got to multiply them across 30 islands or so. The end result is that, boy, we got a long way to go in order to bring our healthcare system up to the point where you believe that you're willing to pay through the nose
to go to that function,
to go to that facility. Yeah. And when you walk in Princess Margaret Hospital or you walk in the Rand Memorial Hospital, and I have had the privilege of working in those institutions for 22 years, I will tell you they have a long way to go. And we could do better.
But shouldn't the focus in the initial stage be on the facilities?
That's the call. I believe.
It'll already this will strain the poor facilities that already exist.
So this is what they mean by health strengthening or system strengthening. But how much is it going to take to strengthen? Let's focus on PMH. If you talk about the beds, many of which are 50 years old, that you cannot elevate, that are rusted out, and so on and so forth. Just to replace 500 beds, okay, it's a substantial investment. to get the wards up to a standard that you feel, okay, this is
That
consistent.
you don't have to implode?
So I talk about medical apartheid.
Yeah.
We practice medical apartheid in the Bahamas. So there's a standard for private patients, and there's a standard for public patients. And we seem not to have a problem in the Bahamas to have our loved ones in an environment which
Substandard.
assaults our sensibilities.
Yeah.
Okay? We have, we look at Atlantis, we look at, well, Bahama, which ain't open yet, but we look at the fact that we can do things with style, our financial sector, the buildings and ambience is wonderful, but go in the hospital and we seem to say, boy, you know, this good enough.
No, it's rampant throughout. I mean, now this to me is like the biggest deal in the world, because when you go for health care, it's got to be seeming like someone actually cares. You know what I mean? And just having and you're not talking about, you know, Cleveland Clinic waiting room, executive health waiting room style. You're just talking about, but what I'm saying is, at least at the very minimal, have a safe, not a safe, but a clean, nice environment. Well, safe, yeah, but a nice environment, okay? As opposed to substandard. But we're going to take a break. I want to come back. I want to talk about Mr. Brennan's thesis about how the private sector will make up for that, and see what you say. Okay. We'll be right back. Yeah, I want to throw a shout out to all my sponsors, Summer Palace, Bahama Grill, Summer Palace. We're going to be having a town hall meeting down there a couple of weeks from now. Bahama Grill, I'm going to see if I can do this by heart. Subway, KFC, of course. I want to say Coca-Cola. I want to say Heineken. I've got to say Sunshine Insurance and Arawak Homes, and of course Alternate Dispute Resolution. Who am I missing? I'm missing Woodlawn Gardens, of course. I've got to say them. Wendy's. You can't forget the Wendy's. So I think I got them all, Kendrick. I think I did a good job. If I forgot anyone, we'll get them on the next end. But listen, we were talking with DeLon. We were talking with DeLon Brennan earlier. We're now talking with Dr. Dwayne Sands. And we're talking about national health insurance, and I guess a lot of people want it to work. Yes. Let's face it. Everyone wants,
including me.
Right. Everyone wants it to work. This would be one of the best places on the planet if everyone had the decent health care. Let's face it. But the question is the execution, the implementation, the delivery. Now, we were talking, which one of my number one concerns is facility. That when I go to a doctor's office, and some of them are even kind of iffy now. But when I go to a doctor's office, I judge it. I go like, look, this isn't comfortable. This isn't clean. This isn't nice. DeLon Brennan says that what we see in terms of public health facilities will diminish because doctors in the system will ramp up their private practices to accommodate increased volumes through their practices. And of course, because they're motivated by profit, et cetera, they will provide competitively nice environments. Do you buy into that?
To a degree. Mm-hmm. So let's look at it. Let's say you are running a cabin on a plane, and you got somebody who buys a ticket for $100, somebody who buys a ticket for $300, and somebody who buys a ticket for $500. Now, which of those people would you prefer? So let's say that the person who has the $100 ticket says, you know, I would like to book a flight on such and such a day. Oh, that's blocked out. The same thing may apply in the better practices. When a patient who is carrying this card calls up and says, I would like to make an appointment. Well, we have an appointment for you in September of 2018.
Yeah.
You don't have anything sooner?
You have to do something with that boil.
No. So what you have to do is to ensure that the number of slots available in the private sector is that there's little or no discrimination. But it's difficult to say to somebody, if I have a choice, this fella's going to pay me twice as much or 3 times as much. Should he or she get a priority over somebody who is now. That's the business side of it, and unfortunately, as you are running a business, which is a healthcare facility, some of those factors are going to be considered.
Well, one of the things, and I'm guesstimating this stuff. One of the things that seems to me why the Affordable Care Act in the United States didn't work is because it had to be bastardized, right? That the initial goal of providing universal health care, single payer, whatever, I don't know these terms, but whatever, was bastardized to accommodate all the different interests, whether it's politics or insurance or physicians, whatever. So you end up with this kind of concoction that doesn't quite, as we used to say, that curdles, okay? You like that? You like that analogy? Okay. That curdles. Now, it seems to me that we could be in that same boat, that we could end up with a curdling system, and that, in fact, we could, the public system could almost vanish, because if they're going to be accommodating physicians in the private sector to get them to buy into the process, that no one is going to want to. If you just said it, if I got to go to the play, no matter who I am, if I have a choice between going to Fleming Street, I'm not picking on Fleming Street. If I have to go between Fleming Street and say Montague, in the terms of the offices, where am I going to go if I'm paying the same price?
So, Ed, I think what we ought to be focused on is improving the quality
of the public
of healthcare for primarily public patients.
Right.
Because the private patients, for the most part, can fend for themselves. They have options. They have the option to go abroad. They have the option to go to the private practitioners. They can go to doctors, hospital, etc.
But how do you do that? And allow the private patients to do that, and the public patients who don't have the resources to fund this, how do you do that? Just tax me? I don't mind, by the way, being taxed.
I think that what we ought to do is look at what the real issues are.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what people are demanding. What are people demanding? They don't want to wait for 14 hours in accident emergency.
Right.
When they come to accident emergency, they'd like to be greeted by somebody who cares, somebody who has a smile. They'd like a nice environment, and they don't want to spend 3 days in the emergency room. And so when we realize, when we realize that we have a shortage of beds in all of the major healthcare facilities, then maybe what we ought to be doing is figuring out ways to increase the throughput through the hospital, to ensure that the diagnostic and therapeutic equipment is available in the public sector, that the standard of care in the public sector is elevated and is either equal to or better than any other facility. PMH should be the best hospital in the Bahamas. Full stop. Full stop.
Is it possible, Dwayne, for me, I'm putting a hypothetical here, right? Is it possible for me to maintain my insurance program as is at the existing cost or slightly higher, because it goes up every year or whatever, and tax me nominally everyone, so that I can contribute to a public health care system that is of a good standard, which then allows for those who don't have the capacity to pay for health insurance to pay for health insurance. Because at the end of the day, and I know this sounds overly, utopian, but if I've got to pay, $4 a week more for, to fund the healthcare system that I might end up in, by the way. It isn't, I'm not gonna be in this scenario all my life. That I could be, in other words, I'm paying to the future almost. Is that type of system possible?
I think that what you're describing is an excellent model given the current fiscal reality. Right now, the center of excellence for neonatal care is the public sector. So even if you have a baby that's born in the private sector, if that baby is an at-risk infant, they coming over to PMH, full stop. And we fly people in from the rest of the Caribbean into the special care baby unit, into the NICU, okay? Right. Similarly, the ICU is top-notch. Trauma. We do trauma incredibly well at Princess Margaret Hospital. And so the idea is that, look, 35% of people already have good insurance. Right. Leave it alone. What we want to do is to bring more people into a better healthcare system. And if it means, I say to Mr. Ed Fields or Erica Wells,
Don't forget Kendrick, please. Kendrick Williams.
If I say now that, you're already spending X amount of dollars, but we can tax you X amount of dollars so that we can improve the quality of healthcare for the rest of the people in this country.
And for me later on.
And for yourself. Well, hey, you got to satisfy. But I don't think it is almost the same situation as the government high school. Oh, this is an elitist high school. Let's break this thing down. Let's get rid of this. Okay? Let's level the playing field so that we dumb it down. So we don't want to dumb down healthcare in the country. We want to elevate healthcare in the country.
So what happens if this doesn't work the way it's being rolled out?
The problem,
Is it
the big problem is that there is an imperative to get this done now.
Yeah.
Okay? Even though the logistics are incredibly difficult. So the information technology system, which would say, let's get everybody's sensitive medical information so that when we put your smart card into the system, it says, oh, this is Dwayne Sands, blah, 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 blah. He got a carbuncle on his backside. He had this disease, that disease, etc. That is not available for the public to see.
Right.
Well, we ain't got that system. We don't have it. We ain't know when we can get it. So we're going with a temporary system. So we could roll it out in January or February of 2017. Okay? Who has access to that system? What's the security on that system? Don't worry about that. We can get the system. Okay? So now the question is, how safe is my personal data? Okay?
I didn't even think about this aspect.
Yeah, well, that's a huge thing.
So if you think about a robust IT system for every patient, 373,000 people in the Bahamas that can be accessed in Acklands, Magronic, Crooked Island, Freeport, Abaco, etc. That's a $100 million system, right? Well, we ain't buy that system yet. And we don't know where we can get the money from to buy that system.
First of all, we're not going to have the system. We're not going to have anything by February, March. I can guarantee you that. But let me ask you this question: the thing that we were talking about, this taxable scenario, right? What is the response to that? I mean, from the people who are putting it together, because it seems to me, why would that be a pushback? They're always willing to tax people who they believe have money. What is the pushback?
I think the reality is that the appetite for additional taxation right now is zero.
But it's amazing about selling things, right? I can tell you one thing that people want, no matter where they go in the world. I know people who, people who've been trapped in their jobs for years simply because they're scared to leave because of healthcare. Okay? That if you tell me, the situation I'm in with a senior citizen, if you tell me that I'm going to pay a couple of dollars that I can afford, okay, so that my elderly relatives, that my brother who may not be working, that my child, whatever the reason is, that is one tax I think that people can buy into.
If you're going to get value for money.
If you're going to get value for money. And the whole point is saying, well, this is how you're going to get it. But
And I think that there are few people in this country that don't buy into that idea of a well-executed, properly planned healthcare system. And I think, and this may sound absurd coming from a politician who's a doctor, that this ought to be one of those things that is not a partisan debate.
Yeah.
This ought to be a part of a national development plan that has buy-in from whatever color the traffic light you're talking about. Okay? This ain't got nothing to do, honestly, with politics.
Never really acquainted it to a traffic light before, but I'm going to remember that one.
So
go ahead.
You have a situation where when you talk about education, the approach to crime, or healthcare,
right,
and a couple others, look, man, this is a Bahamian issue, and we ought to be looking for the best thing that we can do. So when we start to have this tussle back and forth, let's not debase the discussion. by claiming that, oh, if you start to ask questions about how this thing is being executed, it's because you don't love Bahamians or you are not a nationalist. Okay? It is trying to make sure that Bahamians who are going to be spending the money for this and having to change the way they access healthcare get value for money.
Let me ask you this final question. We're about to wind down here. Assuming all of the realities, because we exist in a world of, what is what is, right? Something's going to roll out at some point. The big question I have is this. Is it tweakable? Because assume that people are going to do things for the wrong reasons. At the end of the day, either it works or it doesn't work. If it's working, then hey, hallelujah, we're all happy. If it doesn't work, from what you see, you're an insider, you see what's going on. Is it tweakable? Is it fixable?
It has to be.
Okay.
Because healthcare needs aren't going anywhere.
Okay.
And whatever we have, we got to make better. Because fundamentally, if you're in healthcare, you have no choice. You got to do the best you can do with what you have. For the last 22 years at Princess Margaret Hospital, we have done what we had to do with what we had to do it with. Right. And so if you tell me that I got to fix a fellow who's been shot 6 times, and this is the equipment that you have, and this is the blood bank that you have, you either do it and shut up, or you go home.
But let me ask you a question, and I understand that. That's the skill. But I'm saying how we put an infrastructure in place that is more detrimental as opposed to evolvable.
Yeah, like what if it gets worse?
Well, then you say, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try something different. Yeah. And I would hope that it is not a I told you so or punitive type of thing, but that it really is a matter of looking objectively at what you've done and saying, okay, this was good, but that didn't quite work. Let's try and change it. Yeah. That's
what, by the way, is happening with the Affordable Care Act. People were debasing it, but now when they get to the point where it's their turn, they're going, you know what? These pieces work. That person works.
You have 35 million more people covered. Yeah. Trump is going to be in a fix to try and dismantle, from 35 million
Because that's what we said. He can't go to Vernell and say, you ain't got the coverage no more.
Nope.
All right. Listen, Dwayne Sands, Dr. Dwayne Sands, I got to tell you, when people say Dwayne, it was like, who? Anyway, listen, Dr. Dwayne Sands, Senator, the Honorable, you got all kind of stuff going on there. That's SENHON and DR, all kind of periods. That's what I told CB Walsh. You got plenty of periods in your name. Listen, thanks for coming by, especially on such short notice. But listen, this is the kind of stuff we want people to hear. They're driving home, just to get a clearer picture of what's going on. So that when someone approaches them, when they're having that discussion, they're better equipped to deal with the discussion.
And, I must say that Dr. Brennan has done a phenomenal job of educating the public.
Yeah, yes.
Now, I don't agree with everything that he says.
But he's done a phenomenal job.
But he has done an incredible job of educating the public, and he has become the point man for NHI.
All right. Kendrick, happy birthday, sir. We're going out for the bash after, social afterwards, me, you, and Erica. Thanks, Erica Wells Cox. We'll see you next on Thursday. Okay?